we're going to talk about why people buy what you're selling. And one of the first important aspects of that is to understand the concept of a target market. A lot of people understand what a target market is, but probably, at least according to Michael, 80 to 85% of business owners don't really have a firm grasp of target market as it really should relate. And so it's important to understand that a target market is different than a niche and different than an ideal client. An ideal client would be a member of your target market who has certain characteristics or values that allow you to do your best work. And a niche would be your specific service or specialty that you bring to that target market. For example, if I'm an elder law attorney, my target market would be caregivers and seniors concerned about long-term care costs. Those are the people I help. Now, my ideal client of that would be someone who has a good attitude. I like to work with positive people. I also like to work with people who are prompt, always show up for their appointments on time. Those would be two characteristics of my ideal clients as members of that target market. Now, niche would be my specialty for that target market. So in my target market, I'm known as an expert in helping to protect against long-term care costs by helping veterans and surviving spouses qualify for what's called the veterans benefit. So it's a very specific way that I help people in my target market, and that's what I'm known for. That's my specialty. So that would be my niche. But my target market would be seniors, caregivers who are concerned about long-term care costs. So it's important to identify a target market, and the reasons that we want to the reasons we want to identify that target market are threefold. First, when we identify the target market, we now know where to look for those potential clients. So if I don't have a target market, any Joe Schmo marketing person knocks on my door, then I may throw money at them, even though it might not be getting me in front of my target market. Versus if I know my target market is seniors and caregivers, well, we have a caregiver expo that happens every year in my local area, and it's something I put some money and time and effort, and I give a presentation to 250 people who are caregivers. So that's right in front of my target market and works out perfectly. So you know where to show up. And then also that target market then knows that you're dedicated to them. So on my website, it's all geared towards caregivers, and the name of the website is the Elder Care Firm. So what that means is that if you're looking for someone who needs representation for a DUI, I'm probably not the person to talk to. So I don't work with those people. But those people who are my target market, they go to my website, they understand that, oh, this is exactly the person I need because he's dedicated to helping people in my situation. So the first reason to have a target market is that it tells you where to show up, and the second reason is that when you do show up, those people who you're meant to serve know that you're meant to serve just them and not everybody. So it almost gets back to the red velvet rope policy a little bit. And then also, by having a target market, the third benefit is that a lot of times these people talk, they network together. For example, in my elder care practice, there's a lot of support groups. So a lot of spouses who have a loved one who is maybe going through Alzheimer's, they all go to Alzheimer's support groups. And they'll talk about the best work that I did for them, and so it generates buzz, generates referrals. And by having an established target market, I'm able to accomplish this. Now, you don't need to have just one target market, though it's definitely recommended. But once you kind of knock that target market out of the park, once you get booked solid with that one target market, that gives you credibility so that if you did want to expand from there, you have the ability to do so. Now, it is important to pick just one because if not, then you could be a little scattershot. and it's no big deal. And no one's ever came back and said, I'm angry because I got booked solid with only one target market. You get booked solid with your target market, then you have some additional options. And there's two ways to kind of go from there. Once you do get booked solid with that target market, you can from there add a second target market. So if my target market was providing legal services to seniors and caregivers, I could then move to another target market of maybe providing legal services to parents with young children, providing estate planning, taking those same strategies I used to get booked solid with one target market and applying them to another target market. Or what you could do is you could expand in the other direction. So continue to serve that initial target market, but offer additional services to them. So if I'm an elder law attorney providing services, legal services to them, I could now bring in a social worker and also provide social worker services to those caregivers and those concerned about long-term care. But the important aspect of this is to just choose your target market. So you need to identify who your target market is. And there's some clues or ways that you can go about doing that. For example, look at kind of the groups that you're a part of now. Maybe it's pretty easy to figure out who your target market is. Or if you're not already part of some groups, you can look for groups that you relate to or you have some knowledge about, or the important thing is that you're passionate about serving that market. Once you identify who that target market is, then it's important. The next step is to identify their needs and desires. So what are the things that are keeping them up at night? Think of desires as things that they're moving towards, and needs would be those things that they are kind of running away from, or they want taken care of problems they're moving away from. It's easiest to first start identifying needs, and then you can start worrying about desires for that target market. And then once you've established the needs and desires of your target market, you can then figure out what that number one big result that you're going to provide them. So if I am a book yourself solid coach and my target market is solo and small firm attorneys, the number one biggest results that I help them with is to get booked solid. If I'm an elder law attorney whose target market is caregivers, veterans, and seniors concerned about long-term care costs, my number one biggest results could be peace of mind to know that they can navigate the long-term care legal maze or protection against long-term care costs. And then once you identify what that number one biggest result is, then the next step is to break that down into the benefits, the core benefits that number one biggest result provides them. For example, their financial, emotional, or physical, or spiritual benefits. So if I am serving seniors and caregivers, the financial result that I can provide them is that I can save them on long-term care costs so that they don't have to spend $10,000 a month on a nursing home. Instead, that could be covered by governmental benefits. The emotional benefit that provides them is the peace of mind to know that they're not going to run out of money. A physical benefit is that they're not going to be stressed out. They're not going to be all crunched and worried. For example, I had a client who was she was literally in tears in my office because she was concerned how she was going to pay $10,000 a month for her husband's care, which is going to happen when she runs out of money. And then also there may be spiritual benefits as well, whether that's a connection to your greater purpose, a peace of mind that allows you to explore some of those kind of spiritual ideas. So that is a short summary of why people buy what you're selling. So the most important thing is to identify a target market, look for clues, and then once you identify that target market and understand why it's important to have that target market, then you need to identify the needs and desires of that target market, the number one benefit you provide, as well as the financial, emotional, physical, and spiritual benefits that you provide. Thank you.